Hey, I'm super excited to share another build breakdown. This time it's a 5th gen 4Runner on 74 weld portals and 37s. I'll talk about how much everything costs installed with tax and everything out the door, and we'll also discuss some things that I would do if this was my personal rig. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start by talking about the armor and some lighting. First of all, we have an awesome Backwoods Adventure Mods bumper on the front. I think this looks better than just about every 5th gen 4Runner on the market. And the cool thing about Backwoods, besides being made in the USA, they're super lightweight. It has a steel winch cradle holding a 10,000 pound synthetic winch there from Borne Offroad. And the actual bumper itself that attaches to that winch cradle is made out of aluminum. Saves you a whole bunch of weight. And listen, I've seen 1/4 inch steel bumpers get crumpled, full plate bumpers get crumpled. So if you hit any bumper hard enough, you're going to be able to damage them. Don't be scared if you want to save some weight to run an aluminum bumper, especially on portals. Look how high up that bumper is off the ground. You'd have to try pretty hard to hit that bumper on anything. So those run about $2,000. As I mentioned, the Borne Offroad 10,000 pound synthetic winch is $740. The bumper also has a really cool option to do a connector skid plate. So this is the little plate that connects the skids to the bumper itself, making a seamless line, saving you from getting hung up on obstacles if you do encounter a rock that you hit on the front bumper, but also it looks killer too. Those skid plates are aluminum skids from RCI, local Colorado guys as well, making stuff in the US. And for the full skids, you're looking at a total of $1,000. That connector skid plate is $230. And also on that Borne winch, we've got a Factor 55 flat link. And then let's talk about some lighting. We've got Baja Designs lights in this bumper, of course, and we also have Baja Designs scene lights up on that Sherpa roof rack up there. Sherpa makes these really cool scene light handles, so you can take Baja Designs rock lights and bolt them right into your roof rack. Great option to have when you're out camping. Those are all powered by a Garmin PowerSwitch. Now, the Garmin PowerSwitch is a wireless option, so you don't have to run anything through your firewall. Everything's connected in your engine bay. There's a fail-safe on the unit itself in case you get stuck with your lights on. Just pop your hood, hit the physical switch itself. But everything we just discussed, including installation and tax, you're at $10,444 out the door installed. Now, one thing we don't talk about enough, but we probably should mention more in videos, is recovery gear. So this customer got recovery gear and some air up and air down tools as well. The ARB Twin was mounted under the hood. We made a custom bracket on the plasma table for that. And we also recommended that this customer get the Morrflate quad hose to pair up with that. It's a great option to inflate and deflate all 4 tires at the same time. We also got some soft shackles in this kit from Factor 55. And we added the Morrflate Ultimate Tire Repair Kit. All of that installation and everything out the door is $1,769. If you've been a subscriber for any amount of time, watched any of our videos, you've probably heard us mention portals several times. That's because I truly believe they are the future of IFS off-roading. Solid axle swaps are going to become more obsolete. It's just the way that it is, unfortunately. I love solid axle trucks, but as we get into new gen vehicles with more sensors, electronic steering, what have you, you're just gonna want to go another direction on new stuff. Now, there's a lot of benefits to going with portals over a solid axle as well. It's more highway friendly, you can drive at speeds easier, not to mention the insane amount of ground clearance that you get from portal axles and the gear reduction that occurs at the hub. 74 weld portals are $20,000. They have a 22% gear reduction at the hub, and you're gaining about 3.8 inches of lift height. Now that lift height is not coming from your suspension. It's coming from the portal box itself, because your axle goes into the top of the portal box. There are gears inside, and it drops down where your wheel mounts. So the center of your hub is now 4 inches lower than where your axle is, giving you the ability to run bigger tires easier, to turn those tires easier because of the gear reduction that occurs at the hub, not giving any more stress and strain to the rest of your drivetrain. Everything behind it is virtually unaffected. The other big thing is that it allows you to not add a ton of preload to your suspension. So if you go aftermarket like this customer did, you don't have to add preload to the springs, meaning you get a ton of down travel in your aftermarket suspension. Even though you have a ton of room now in your wheel wells because of the portals, you're gonna have to do some clearancing. Admittedly, on this truck, we haven't really properly clearanced it yet, but we did do a cab mount relocate because that is step one. This is from DRT Fab. Cab mount relocate out the door, you're looking at about $1,600. And we'll talk about some of the things that we need to do to get proper clearance on this vehicle at the end of the video as well. All right, wheels and tires. These things look ridiculous. We got kind of a blue theme going here. So we did the Blue Method 707s. These are a positive 25 offset. Everybody is gonna be going negative most of the time. The new gen stuff though, starting to move in a positive direction, but this 5th gen 4Runner has to have positive 25s at least. In between positive 25 and positive 45 is really the golden zone, not just to protect the portal boxes, but to keep your steering nice and happy with your scrub radius, because the portal's at about 3 inches of width to each side of your vehicle. So you want to keep your wheel bearings happy, you want to keep your steering happier and feeling better. So a positive 25 in between that and a positive 45 is really the way to go. Those wheels are $319 a pop. We've got Kenda cleavers, 37-inch Kenda cleavers. That's 37-1250 R17s. Those are $350 a piece. Kenda cleavers are so good for the money. I mean, under 350 bucks for 37s, come on, can't beat it. Grille lug nuts, you're gonna have to get aftermarket lug nuts when you get aftermarket wheels 90% of the time. Those are only $67. Grand total for wheels and tires out the door, $3,260. This truck also got the Morimoto XP Evo hybrid headlights. They are absolutely killer. Those are $1,150, and we charge an hour to install them. So out the door with tax and everything, you're at $1,476 to get some killer headlights. And we also upgraded the front end look of this 4Runner by adding a TRD Pro grill, and we also got a custom emblem on there as well. That grill is $280. The 4Runner emblem overlay is $130. We charge an hour to do a Pro grill install with that, bringing that up to $650. Join the Kang gang. This customer got Kings all around. King shocks are killer. They're nice and plush. This one admittedly is a little bit stiff. We are in kind of uncharted territories. This is the first 74 weld portal 4Runner that we've done here. I know of 2 others in existence. So we actually probably went a little bit too stiff on the coils. We put 650s in front. It's a little stiff. I want to put 600s back in there. That being said, these are the extended travel King shocks, and they're the 2.5s. Again, you don't have to add a ton of preload. There's virtually no preload in the coilovers at all on this, but we did set up the rear with some aftermarket coils as well, because we have a bumper coming from Dissent Off-Road. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But these are the adjustable Kings at $3,810 all around. And then we also did Dirt King boxed upper control arms. When you do portals, you have to have a Heim joint, and you cannot use just like a classic ball joint for your upper control arm, because that upright connects to it in a specific way. So you have to do Heims on the front, and everything installed, aligned, and taxes for this suspension, you're at $6,800. Now, this customer also got a full PPF wrap. Paint protective film is amazing stuff. It started out as a solution for Operation Desert Storm helicopters to stop getting helicopter blades pitted in all the sand during Operation Desert Storm. That morphed into being utilized in the yacht industry, boats, and military applications even further. And then it turned into an automotive thing for clear bras. So most people know PPF as clear bra. A lot of people only do that clear bra obviously on the front, hence the name. A lot of people started doing it on their mirrors and on surfaces that are high contact areas, like when you had to do manual keys around that whole handles, and other places of high wear and touch. So anything that could get damaged. Now people are doing entire vehicles. We just got our Land Cruiser in a full PPF. We have a video coming on that. But you can expect to pay about $8,500 for a full PPF wrap. So everything we just talked about comes out to a grand total of about $60,000. Sounds like it's a lot because that's the same price as a 2025 4Runner from the dealership, but it's a heck of a lot more functional and it looks insane. This thing breaks necks when you're driving down the road for sure, and it's going to perform like a champ off-road. Now this customer's picking up tomorrow. That's why I'm shooting this on my phone at the shop late at night. We have a videographer that's in-house. Leo's fantastic, but time frames are real and this customer has to go out of state for some work. So she's gonna pick this up and drive pretty much across the country immediately. And we got the break-in done for her and just checked everything out. And then she's gonna come back to get some more things done. The one thing that is for certain is getting a Dissent off-road rear bumper on this. Installed and everything for Dissent bumper on the rear of this truck. I'll show you a picture of what it's going to look like. She's getting a swing out. Dissent's the only company right now making bumpers that I'd feel comfortable running a 40-inch tire on a swing out on. They maintain towability because you don't just cut out your factory tow hitch and cross member, you actually move it up. So you're still getting the benefits of a cross member delete high clearance rear bumper, but you're also maintaining your factory tow hitch. You can count on spending about $6,500 to do a rear bumper with swing outs on it, installed, everything, tacks out the door, powder coat. Yes, it sounds expensive, but it's really the best option there is. Now I mentioned it before, but we're gonna have to do more clearancing on this vehicle than just the DRT cab mount relocate that we already did. The rear is going to be a problem. We're probably going to have to cut into the rear door a little bit because when that 37's flexed out, I mean, you can see it visually, it's going to contact there. So we're going to have to do some tubbing after the customer's road trip. And more than likely, we're going to have to do a light tub on the firewall in the front just so when it's full lock, flexed out, you can turn the wheel and not contact your firewall. So you're looking at about $2,000 of clearancing work there. One thing I would definitely do on this vehicle if it was mine would be adding a front locker. When you have portals and a front locker, it's unstoppable. You'll really look at obstacles that look impossible and just walk right up them with no problem as long as you choose a good line. A very obvious thing that I would add to this is a new steering rack. We're gonna see how this holds up. I would at least do the Apex outer tie rods. They're killer. We paired those up on a portal truck recently, and Apex outer tie rods are just amazing, especially if you're saying OEM width and not going long travel. Great upgrade on any vehicle that you're modifying for sure. And then just to beef up the suspension, I would strongly consider doing the JD Fab lower pivot kit and moving those lower mounts further forward. And I would probably also do the Dirt King lower control arms to pair up with the Dirt King boxed uppers on here. Not only would it look awesome, but it would beef those up and be able to take hits a lot easier as well. On the rear end, I would probably do some custom outboard shock relocates and get more travel out of the rear end. And if I was feeling really froggy, I would go with a Dana 60 rear axle. But 37s are bound to break at some point. They're going to find the weak point if you're wheeling hard. And I'm guessing that the weak point on this vehicle is now going to be steering rack, tie rods, and rear axle. So those are the things I would add if I had another $60,000 to put into this vehicle. So what would you do to this vehicle if it was yours from here besides the rear bumper? Is there anything that we missed? Do you think that we just completely missed the mark, or do you think that this is as good as it looks and functions even better? Let us know in the comments. If you're not subscribed already, please do. Thank you so much for tuning in, putting in more and more effort into this channel. So if you could subscribe, I would definitely appreciate it. And hit us up if you ever need anything for your Toyota off-road rigs. Peace.